Section 2 of The Whys of Cooking by Janet McKenzie Hill. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Betty B. The Story of Crisco. What Crisco is. Crisco is the rich cream of vegetable oil, delicate, odorless, and tasteless, a product of unusual merit, ideal for frying, for shortening, and for cake making. Crisco is a primary fat which has numerous advantages over lard, butter, compounds, margarines, or butterings. 4 years of severest tests and exhaustive experiments in which Crisco demonstrated its value as a wholesome, nutritious, absolutely pure cooking fat prefaced its introduction to the public. It was under such exacting conditions of faithful research that Crisco was perfected. Crisco's success. For 8 years, Crisco has been marketed with such growing favor that it is an accepted staple, handled by progressive dealers in every state and province on the American continent. It is significant that millions of competent housewives, as well as many dietitians and chefs, have chosen to use Crisco to the exclusion of other cooking fats. In many schools of domestic science, Crisco is given the preference because it is a vegetable product, absolutely pure, entirely wholesome, and of a dependable, uniform quality that makes good results certain. Crisco is recognized as a better product. Its use quickly becomes a habit, for there is no substitute for Crisco as a rich food fat for cooking. The manufacture of Crisco. Crisco is the brand name of a pure cooking fat made possible by the hydrogenizing processes in use by the Procter & Gamble Company. Only such a process can convert vegetable oil into a rich cream such as Crisco. The oil is filtered, given its proper consistency by the addition of pure hydrogen, and then sterilized by very high heat. Nothing but hydrogen is added to the oil to gain this consistency essential to the easy and proper combining of Crisco with flour and sugar. This hydrogenizing process is responsible for the peculiar virtues of Crisco. Crisco is what is known in chemistry as a synthetic product, i.e., a fat made to order. This makes it possible so to govern the process of hydrogenizing that the resulting product shall have fewer faults than a natural product. A cooking fat made by this process, such as Crisco, has less tendency to become rancid, to smoke when heated, and give off strong odor, and the true shortening components are present in greater percentage. The details of this hydrogenizing process are controlled exclusively by the Procter & Gamble Company. The Crisco Building. The Crisco Building, devoted solely to the preparation of Crisco, is a handsome modern structure of rugged stone and brick. It stands quite alone within spacious grounds that during the rest hours are used for tennis and other outdoor recreations. The vast rooms are walled with glass and flooded by sunlight, which shines through windows that never need be opened, for the air in circulation throughout the factory is water washed, driven into the rooms dust-free and germ-free, pure. Every employee is dressed in white. Daily changes of clothing are made. The floors of the Crisco Building are of terrazzo. Pillars, ceiling, and refrigerating tunnels are of white tile. Corners everywhere are rounded to make constant cleaning a simple matter. These spotless appointments, plenty of pure air, and floods of bright sunlight are what keep Crisco pure in its passage through the packing room. Not a human hand ever touches Crisco, either in process of manufacture or packing. It is put into bright, new, vacuum-cleaned cans by machinery which is nickeled, enameled, and kept spotlessly clean. Crisco passes automatically through the tiled refrigerators. In fact, even the labeling and wrapping are done by marvelous machines that grasp the cans with fingers of steel and do the work more deftly than human hands. The Tribute of the Ages. The nation which outlived all others in the world's history put up barriers against lard centuries ago. To the Jew, Crisco proved welcome for the good reason that it conformed strictly to his important dietary laws. Being kosher and a parava, or neutral fat, it can be used with both milchig and fleischig milk, and flesh foods. While Crisco sold to the Jewish trade carries a kosher seal, certified by Rabbi Margolies of New York, nevertheless all Crisco is kosher and of identical purity. The uniform purity and quality of Crisco. Crisco never varies, either in purity or quality. Its absolute cleanliness is another unfailing advantage which means so much to the housewife who is anxious that nothing may enter into her cooking which might impair its wholesomeness. One can of Crisco is the same as another can of Crisco. It is the same as it was yesterday and as it will be tomorrow. Because of this uniformity, Crisco is in a class by itself. There is no substitute for it. From the time it leaves the factory in airtight tins until it is opened in your own kitchen, Crisco is never exposed. Unequaled for frying. Successful frying is an art. Someone has said that frying is cooking in boiling fat. This is not quite accurate, but the temperature of the cooking fat must be hot enough virtually to roast the surface of the food, yet not hot enough to cause it to scorch. Foods fried in Crisco look appetizing because Crisco gives up its heat so quickly that a tender brown crust forms almost instantly, thereby allowing the inside of the food to bake instead of to become soaked with grease. With Crisco came the revelation that it is possible to fry foods without spoiling the taste of the food itself by the flavor of the cooking fat used. Crisco, odorless and flavorless, with its delicate, clean freshness, brings out all the natural dainty, appetizing flavor of the food. Fried chicken takes on a new taste, and fried eggs are as delicate as if they were poached. Fried fish and fried oysters have new appetizing flavors. Potatoes, either white or sweet, are unusually tasty when fried in Crisco. Saratoga chips are different, crisp and appetizing, without the grease which comes with the old method of preparation. Housewives who use Crisco in making doughnuts quickly acquire the reputation of making the best doughnuts in the neighborhood. Salted almonds and peanuts have a new appeal when prepared in Crisco. Crisco meets the severest tests in deep fat frying and all other frying. By using Crisco, you banish the greasy taste so often found in foods. The secret of good pastry. Pastry shortened with Crisco is light, flaky, tender, and crisp. It is easy to digest. Some of the most distinguished chefs in the land, who pride themselves on the superiority of their pastries, are using Crisco for their finest foods. Pies made with Crisco are more delicious. The crust will break at the touch of a fork. Unchanged fats. The general impression is that all foods are changed in cooking. The fact is that all shortening remains unchanged. For instance, if you make a pie with lard, nearly 1/3 of the crust, by weight, is composed of raw lard. The same is true if Crisco is used. Fats are not changed in cooking unless sometimes for the worse. Thus the desirability of using the purely vegetable and wholesome Crisco is all the more apparent. Good cake making. Cake made with Crisco is unusually rich and tasteful, stays moist and fresh a surprisingly long time, and costs less. Butter, always much more expensive than Crisco, is no longer an essential to success in cake making. Crisco is so delicate to work with that it is used with equally successful results in the simplest and plainest as well as in the richest fruit or layer cakes. Crisco all shortening. Crisco is all shortening. Even the very best grades of butter contain nearly 1/5 water, curd, and salt. The salt is added to preserve the butter and give it flavor. While salt gives flavor, it adds no richness, and water has no value as shortening. Crisco contains no water and needs no salt to keep it sweet. Water and salt can be added in the needed proportions, but the use of Crisco lessens by 1/5 the amount of shortening required. A bread baking suggestion. To brush bread with Crisco during the last rising makes it brown more easily, giving it a fine, nutty flavor, and aids in the formation of a thin, tender crust. If you would like to give your bread a fine butter crust after baking, brush with salted Crisco as the bread comes hot from the oven. The proportions are 1 teaspoonful of salt to 1/2 cupful of Crisco. These splendid uses of Crisco in bread making improve the texture, make the color better, and the taste richer. The plan more generally in use of covering newly baked bread with a cloth drives in the moisture and makes bread soggy and less appetizing. To brush over with Crisco prevents crusts from hardening without lessening their crispness and makes every crumb edible. Idealized cooking. Kitchens are kept sweeter when Crisco is used. There are no irritating odors of superheated fats. The reason why is clear. Butter will smoke at a temperature of 329 degrees, lard at 400, while Crisco does not smoke until it reaches 455 degrees. This is heat much higher than necessary for frying. Mothers find that cookies made with Crisco are wholesome, appetizing sweets for the children. Fudge, taffies, and other candies made with Crisco are exceptionally good. In all the affairs of life, good digestion plays a most important part. All foods made with Crisco are digested more easily. A child can understand the reason for this. The normal temperature of the human body is 98 2/5 degrees. Crisco melts at 97 degrees, which is less than body temperature, thus enabling the digestive juices to mix freely with it. The melting point of lard is about 105 degrees, and that of lard compounds even higher. Stearine, used in so many compounds, is hard and indigestible. You can fry fish, then onions, and then potatoes in the same Crisco, and each dish will retain its own distinctive taste with no suggestion of the other. Simply strain the melted Crisco through cheesecloth, and Crisco retains all its original purity and sweetness. If there are any whys in your own cooking or in the use of Crisco which puzzle you, do not hesitate to take up these questions with us. We want you to feel that we are at your service, glad of any opportunity to help you in the cause of better foods, for better foods will figure largely in making a better nation. Sincerely yours, the Procter & Gamble Company. End of section 2.